When I say Mario Kart, is this how you feel?
I hate Mario Kart!
Yeah, me neither. Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here. And today it's time to look at every Mario Kart game to decide which ones are the best and which ones are Mario Kart Tour. Oh, that's a Mario Kart Tour. The way these games are ranked is that on our website we have this feature where users can rank each game from 1 to 10 stars, and compiling that data, well, it gives us this list. Mario Kart is just one of the most iconic, well-beloved and popular franchises Nintendo has put out to date, and it's been popular for a really long time. People have grown up with different games in the series, thus we all prefer different Mario Karts over another. Nostalgia has a big factor to play, but in this way these are ranked by everyone. It's just the collectively best Mario Kart games. So without further ado, let's just race right into it. And at the bottom of our list, we have Mario Kart Tour. This game has always been in a weird situation, because on paper it should be a fantastic experience having Mario Kart on mobile phones, but it unfortunately got a rough start from the get-go, which left a bit of a bad taste in people's mouths. Oh, what's this horrible taste? Oh, that makes sense. At launch, it could only be played upright, you couldn't join your friends, and the microtransactions were so obscene, it even started a meme of things that were cheaper to buy than the Diddy Kong pack, which was a whopping £39. Now, they did fix a lot of the issues down the line, removed gacha mechanics, added another play mode so you didn't have to play it upright, and you can now join your friends, but the damage was already done and people never saw it as the actual Mario Kart game that Nintendo labels it as nowadays. It's definitely a shame, because it's the Mario Kart with the most tracks and characters. It's really a celebration of Mario Kart, but on the other hand, it's such a big departure of what makes Mario Kart Mario Kart. The biggest one was of course the free-to-play formula, but also with the controls. Auto tricks, auto steering, now you can turn off auto steering but you still can't fall off platforms, and the race itself is just so slow. The potential for a great Mario Kart on mobile was really here, but it just couldn't stick the landing, unfortunately. Next in line, on the 9th spot, we have Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. As this list will show, even though you know what you're getting yourself into when you hear Mario Kart, Nintendo's always tried to innovate with this franchise, and this game is probably the greatest example of that. It's what we always dreamed of as kids, making your house into a Mario Kart stage. Plan your route, put down the gates, and race Mario and Luigi around your furniture. Now personally, I never got to try this unfortunately, since my living situation simply doesn't have enough space for a Mario Kart track, and I think that's one of the game's biggest downfalls, is that you need some big rooms to be able to pull this off. I love the idea of mixing the real world with Mario Kart, and this is probably the best way to do it, but compared to other Mario Karts, it just falls a bit flat. Still, the technology here is pretty incredible. You race this miniature kart and it uses augmented reality to have different races racing around you on your Switch. And the way you set this whole course up, that you place down the gates and then you have to actually map out the track, is just such a novel idea, and it's one of the reasons I love Nintendo so much. And maybe if they could make a kart and gates that were smaller, this would be appealing to more people, since they would be able to use it in their smaller houses. And coming in at number 8, we have Mario Kart Super Circuit. This was the first handheld Mario Kart game, and even though it was a brilliant experience, that previous fact is probably the most interesting thing you can say about it these days. But hey, it's on a handheld, which means you can now play Mario Kart while doing this. I lost? What this game really lacked in hindsight was innovation. After the huge jump from Super Mario Kart to Mario 64, this game felt like taking one step forward and 2 steps back. It's like Super Mario Kart all over again. Damn it! But Felix, they had to cram this onto a handheld. You can't expect them to be overflowing with ideas when the tech is limited. Of course not, but as we'll see later, Mario Kart DS was visually and even mechanically a step back from previous entries, because of the DS's lesser hardware compared to the GameCube, but that just feels fresh and new and introduced some stuff that's become a staple in the Mario Kart franchise. Look, Super Circuit is a good Mario Kart game on a handheld released in 2001. I think what they did here was really impressive, and it still plays just fine, but the lack of new ideas and just being more Mario Kart but actually less Mario Kart compared to N64 was what really dragged this game down the scoreboard. And Next in line, we have Super Mario Kart, the game that started it all. In some game series, if you go all the way back to the first entry, they will be missing a lot of stuff from the newer entries, but Super Mario Kart got so much correct out of the item box, and that being one of them. Choose your favorite Mario character, race around in a cup of multiple tracks, fire items at each other, while you drift around to a banging soundtrack, and here you have a recipe for what makes Mario Kart fun. There are some things holding this game back, however, the simple and repeated track layouts, and the now by comparison slippery controls, but it's still fun to play this game today, and even more so if you get a second player involved, since that was what Nintendo intended with this game. Now, I didn't grow up with this game like many others, but I can totally picture myself waking up early in the morning with a friend after sleepover and just...
Wrong with your leg?
Those were the times.
You.
Will you be quiet in there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
I really like how it encourages you to play with a friend instead of focusing on a single player experience like many other racing games does. It's not about getting the fastest time, it's about beating your friends and having fun doing so, and that Super Mario Kart was a master at. And the 6th spot is occupied by Mario Kart 7. Mario Kart, but in 3D, but without glasses, but...
Without glasses, I can't see.
But Felix, you don't wear glasses.
I don't?
This game came with a lot of cool new features: gliding, driving underwater, and kart customization. It brings back retro courses from the DS, making tricks off ramps from Wii, and has some of the best track selection of any Mario Kart game. But what this game lacks besides Waluigi is its identity. Every other game on the list besides maybe Mario Kart Super Circuit has its distinct look and feel, but here it feels like the newified Mario Kart. Just 3 years after Wii, they already had this ready, which doesn't feel as new or big of a leap as previous games in this franchise. Now, I didn't own this game as a kid, but I did have a friend who did, and man did we play this a lot. I especially loved the track Makawuhu and remember specifically racing against ghosts to get the best time, and here I discovered a major skip if you drive into the water at a specific angle. My mind was blown. Look, it may not be the most iconic Mario Kart, but it's a damn good one that's still really fun to go back to this day.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
Next in line, we have
Mario Kart.
Mario, you forgot the 64 there. Making the switch from 2D to 3D is no easy task, but Mario Kart 64 really made it look like it. Sure, the characters were still 2D sprites, but these 3D tracks were so much bigger and better compared to the previous entry. Now it just wasn't flat surfaces, you had hills, steep turns, and inclines. They perfectly took what made the original so good and expanded upon it in every way, adding mini turbos to drifting and upping the limit of couch co-op play to 4 players, making this the perfect party game when you had your friends over. Like many early 3D games, the visuals may not have aged the best, and you do need to get accustomed to the controls. Like if this was how it felt to drive a car, oh dearie me, who let Felix drive again? It's just a pretty hard Mario Kart, at least compared to newer entries. Yeah, I actually quite like this, cause Mario Kart has a tendency to be a bit too easy for my liking, but this, I think, is just the sweet spot. Almost every Mario Kart innovated in some form, but this entry was probably the biggest leap from one Mario Kart to another, and we probably won't see another one beating it unless it's Mario Kart in the real world. Wait. Mario Kart Wii comes in at the number 4 spot. This one was until somewhat recently the most sold Mario Kart ever, and for good reason. Introducing motion controls, the Wii's main gimmick, and it translated perfect to Mario Kart. You now don't just steer with a joystick or D-pad, but with arms. Wait, why isn't it turning? And you make tricks? Yeah, this game introduces tricks when shaking the Wii remote, which was just such a genius inclusion. It kept the tradition going from DS, adding 4 cups of retro courses to the mix and the feature of online play. But compared to DS, this upped the races in a race from 8 to 12, which just made an already chaotic game even more frantic. It had the highest character selection at the time, 26, but oh oh man, were they hard to unlock. I recently tried to after finding out I'd never unlocked Funky Kong, Baby Luigi and Baby Daisy, and it took a good hour or two of trying to get those perfect times in before we just unlocked one of the characters. I vastly prefer this to just having all the characters from the get-go, but this was maybe a bit on the hard end. But what wasn't hard was for newcomers to pick this game up and play. The controls were just so simple, press 2 and just steer the car, and the plastic wheel just made the point come across even easier. This is maybe my favorite Mario Kart to date, just because I feel like there's nothing quite like it. It has such a unique vibe that reminds me of a time that I'll likely never get back, but playing this again years later is the closest I can get. And at the number 3 spot, we have Mario Kart DS. This was literally the first game I ever played, so maybe I have a lot of stuff to say about this. And next in line, we have Mario Kart Double Dash. Wait, what? What? I said maybe. Fine. Besides having the lowest polygon Mario out of any Mario games, it also introduced retro tracks, upping the track selection from 16 to 32 for the first time. Half of the courses were now remakes of tracks in previous Mario Karts, bringing a tradition that stayed for good. Outside of Grand Prix, time trials and battles, it introduced a thing we haven't seen in a Mario Kart since: Mission Mode. A single player-like experience where you complete missions and fight bosses? What is this, Elden Ring? The game controls sublimely, introduces some really iconic tracks, and features DS download play, meaning only one person needed the game and 7 others could join in for free as Shy Guy. When I was in first grade, I used this feature a lot. We had this school play, and most of the times we were just waiting in a room while the others rehearsed. So we all brought our DSs to school and played Mario Kart while we waited. Oh, it's just such a genius feature. Nintendo, bring it back. All around, just an excellent entry in this franchise. It did what it had to, plus so much more. And I'll always cherish this game for all the memories it gave me growing up. And coming in on the second spot is Mario Kart Double Dash. The first and only Mario Kart to feature 2 drivers in one kart. Characters have character-specific items, and not just the NPCs this time like in the first game. No, here you actually get to use them, so it's really important what character you choose outside of just weight class. The 2-character idea also introduces the ability to hold 2 items at once. Since both characters can hold items at the same time, you just swap them around from the driving seat to the item holding seat.
Well, I also have one of those.
It has a boatload of iconic tracks at its disposal, and it looks so modern and good that I sometimes forget that this game came before the DS. I remember playing this once when I was not very old, and honestly it felt like a fever dream. Compared to Mario Kart DS, this was just so insane with so many new cool ideas, good tracks, a great gimmick, boatload of characters, and a soundtrack which makes you go, huh, maybe I can actually dance, is what makes this round of karting with Mario one of the very best. Dread or run from it, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe ends up on top all the same, being in total sales all on this list, because to probably no one's surprise, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe takes the top spot. A repackaged version of the Wii U game, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe took an already brilliant entry with the best looking visuals and controls and made it even better, adding a proper battle mode and DLC which doubles the track count and introduces even more characters like Peachette. Yeah! Said no one ever. The new inclusion of anti-gravity opened a whole new world to the track designers, which gave them the freedom to create some of the very best tracks we've seen yet. The feature doesn't change gameplay too much, but when you bump into other characters you get a tiny speed boost, and it's genuinely amazing when you realize, wait, I'm racing upside down now. Oh, I'm racing up a waterfall. Oh, I'm just racing on regular ground. Yeah, they don't use it all the time. I've played countless hours of this game, be it with friends or online, which works surprisingly well here, and it's just fun every time. They really nailed the gameplay here, and there's a good reason why this has sold over 50 million copies. The music also needs a giant applause, opting for live recordings instead of MIDI instruments, and it just bumps it to a whole new level. But it's the way the compositions are played, so upbeat, so jazzy, that's incredibly iconic and just so pleasing to listen to. It's hard to know how they will take it from here in the next entry, just because there's so much that feels like perfection here. But after 10 years, I think it's safe to say that no one would complain with a new game in this series. And who knows, maybe that game will end up topping this list. And there you have it, those were all Mario Kart games ranked. Do you agree with our ranking? Well, let us know down in the comments below if you did or didn't. Don't forget to check out our website nintendolive.com for all sorts of Nintendo related content, and remember, there you can rate games and actually affect how future rankings like these will go. Alright, stay safe, play some Mario Kart games, and we'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Live, out. There's a Mario Kart toy!